So with the full moon in Gemini, we have the Queen of Wands. We have the World. And we have the Nine of Cups. Holy shit, y'all. Beautiful, beautiful cards. I think for a lot of people, this is very much an ending. This is the end, not even of a chapter. It's like a book, the end of a book in a series of books. So this marks an ending with the World. It's like the graduation card, you know? And I think this is all about your desires with the Nine of Cups. And this is all about manifesting, right? So anything that you have been wishing, anything that you have put a lot of your energy, your emotions, any investment that you have made. And we're talking the long run, right? With the World, this isn't like something that you started 2 weeks ago when the moon was a new moon in Scorpio. We're not talking about that. This is a much, much, much bigger cycle. This is still kind of giving like eclipse energy, even though the eclipse has already gone, right? The eclipse has already gone at this moment. But yeah, this is about something that you have been wishing for. And I think it's actually, because I was using the example of a house, but I don't think it's something material like that. Unless that is your case and you feel and you're resonating so far with having an ending and having, you know, investing your energy. This is something more emotional. I think it's a feeling. It's a feeling that you've been cultivating for a long time. Because even if you want like material things, right? Even if you, again, let's just use a house as an example. Even if you want a house, really what you want isn't really the house. It's like the feeling that you want out of having a house, right? Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of what I am getting with these 3 cards. And I haven't even addressed the first card that came out. The Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is about something that you are passionate with. Something, this is kind of giving more like creative energy. This is something that really gives you energy, gives you life. It's almost like the fuel. This is your fuel. This is what gets you out of bed. This is what motivates you to be in this world and just like to keep on living. Queen of Wands, she describes as like the guardian of the flame. So this is about you being, you know, the guardian of your own flame, of, you know, your soul, of, yeah, that fuel, that fire that lives within you. That I already said all of this before. So again, this is all about like creating some sort of like, if we're thinking about the analogy of building a fire, right? Building a fire from scraps. Building a fire out of nothing. So again, this is something that you have been building on, that you've been working on, that you've been kind of like working bit by bit, you know, for a long time. I'm getting this is at least a 1.5-year cycle. I don't know why that number just kind of like came to me. It's like, you know, when you build fire from scratch, I don't actually know how to do that. Okay, but I would imagine, you know, like if you're trying to build fire out of anything that you have, anything that you can find, anything within close proximity, anything that you can, you know, that you can find. So I'm getting the heavenly bodies. It's an astrology deck. Let's pull a card from this deck just to close off the full moon in Gemini reading. Let's get any last messages about the full moon in Gemini. Ooh. Saturn. Our good old friend, Saturn. Feel restricted, experience struggle, learn hard work and patience. So this just wanted to flip out. So I'm very curious as to the position of Saturn when the full moon is happening. I'm not sure where it is. But I think it's because Saturn in general is kind of like it's a challenging energy to be grappling with, right? The shadow of Saturn is like restriction, struggle, learning hard work and patience. That's really hard, right? Let me get the book and see what it says. So it says, where in your life... I'm gonna show it to you while I read the book. Where in your life do you feel a fated sense of lack? Where in yourself do you feel deeply insecure or inadequate? Your guides know the tender nature of these questions and remind you the truth of your soul is innately whole and unconditionally worthy. Yet, here on earth, human brokenness so easily hardens into shame. Can you shift your perspective and see any broken pieces as potent opportunities for growth? These fractures are perfectly designed by the all-loving universe, encoded with the medicine you need. Call on courage and commit to a healing path. Start by shining a light on the darkness within. What does it look like? Where does it come from? What do you see? This is the work your soul came here for, and alchemy is your birthright. Word. Word. So it's also... So that's interesting because... This is, you know, like the tarot cards are telling us that we are getting, you know, our wishes come true, right? We're getting a completion. And at the same time, it's also, the full moon is going to illuminate places where we feel like we are lacking. Like, do you feel like you're not adequate enough for this to come true? For this cycle to finally end? For you to finally graduate? Those things might come up during the full moon. Because of course, it's not just gonna be sunshine and rainbows, right? Because look at how colorful this is, and it's just kind of like a celebration. and happiness and rainbows and hearts. Right? It's not just gonna be rainbows. Saturn also wants to come out here to remind us to be persistent, and it's just kind of like an inquiry as to how you discipline yourself. And I would like to add, in a kind way, you know, in a compassionate way, because I think to me, like, Saturn is giving kind of like being your own parent and reparenting yourself. So it's also, when you are being that like compassionate parent for yourself, you also need to know when to like limit yourself, right? Like sometimes it's also self-care for you to let yourself play games, right? For you to, you know, take the day off, just do whatever is easy for your brain and for you to have fun. I'm kind of like talking about myself here. Because I'm a big gamer. Okay, I love playing games. But then for a long time, I haven't been kind of like allowing myself to play games. And I didn't play for a long time because I was kind of like prioritizing self-improvement and self-growth and things like that. So playing games for me is somehow like an act of self-care, and at the same time, like knowing when to stop playing games, being that like parent to yourself and stopping yourself from like just, you know, hunching on the sofa doing this for 8 hours, you know, because I don't know, you need to eat maybe. Maybe you need to hydrate yourself, you know, just kind of like pretty simple things that you can forget, right, to do. So that is about it for the full moon in Gemini reading. Let me know how that resonates with you, whether in the chat or in the comments down below. Let me know what it is that you are working on, what you think your fuel is, if you're getting any ideas, maybe any revelations about what that actually is. You might be experiencing that during this full moon. And I hope that you get more clarity, you get closure with the world about all these things. Maybe a project, maybe you don't consider it as a project. It's just like you living your life, right? So yeah, thank you so much for joining me.